Alright, so today's video is replacing the steering knuckle off a 2009 Acura TSX up to 2014. We're replacing the steering knuckle due to the fact that a bad wheel bearing is on this knuckle. And we're going to show you the process. It's kind of the same way that you're going to be replacing the axle. I'm not going to be taking the axle out, but we are going to be removing the steering knuckle that connects to this the axle. So first thing you do is I already took out all the bolts for the wheel. Take off the wheel, put it aside. Best place is underneath the car. Okay. So then what we're going to do is we're going to remove this whole steering knuckle right here. We're going to be removing the axle nut, as well as the brake calipers, the rotors, the brake line, as well as the ABS sensor. Once we have the steering knuckle off, I will also show you how to remove the ABS sensor off the steering knuckle. Good. So, best thing, power tools, best thing. Okay, just grab a 10mm and remove the bolts. And there's like one on the frame, one on the steering knuckle itself, one on the shock. And then we're going to remove also brake pads. 12mm. We'll go to the side. Okay. Then, if you want to take off the brake caliper now, you can. It's pretty straightforward. 17mm in the back. And we're going to take off the rotor. Okay. So, best thing to do to hold the brake caliper is grab yourself a bungee cord. 17mm. Alright, so you're going to grab 17mm. Brake caliper and a bungee cord. We're gonna make this a little tighter. Wrap it around. There you go. Just let it hang. All right. Take off the brake rotor. Some will have screws, this one didn't. Okay. So then you're gonna grab a chisel or a flathead screwdriver and try to punch out the axle nut where it was pinned to hold it in place. Okay. Flathead where it's pinned. Okay. Just hammer it away. Lightly. First point. Alright, we're going to grab a 36mm socket. Alright, so next thing to do is, like I said, grab your 36mm socket for the axle nut. Alright. Grab your 1/2" impact gun. Okay. Comes off with ease. The impact guns I use are Milwaukee. Alright, this is not an advertisement. They're not paying me to say that, but they are the best. I've tried Snap-on. Snap-on's really good, but I think Milwaukee's more powerful. Then after you take this axle nut, just leave it in there. You're gonna grab pliers, needle nose. You're gonna take off the cotter pins from top, from your bottom ball joint, as well as your tire rod. Okay, and then this one's a 17 up here, the castle nut. There's a nut for the tire rod, which is a 19, and then a 19 for the ball joint on the bottom. Okay, so we're gonna grab the wrench. And we're gonna don't loosen it all the way where it comes off. Loosen it to the point where it's still on there. Okay. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna hammer the knuckle so the ball joint gets loose. Okay. Then we're gonna grab the 19 millimeter and do the bottom. Off, put it aside. I'm gonna grab the bottom one. Okay. Castle nuts out, put it aside. And then you're gonna grab a hammer. And you're gonna hit. There you go. The ball joint came off. You're gonna hit the bottom one. Came off. Then you grab a ball joint separator, but because I already replaced the axle, which I told you I should have done the video, mine's already loose, the ball joint, so I just took it off here. So put it aside. So the knuckle keeps whacking apart, so we're pressing it back on. So what I forgot to mention is you're also going to remove the fork off the coil. That way the lower control arm drops and you can pull out the whole steering knuckle. Okay, so it's a 17 bolt. 17. 17. Try to keep everything organized so you don't go, where's this, where's that? All right, here's my 17. Put another 17 on the other side. All right, so I had to do it with the bigger 1/2-inch impact gun. I went to go grab a 17, sorry, and a 17 right here. So you hold it on one side and you pull it out right now. It's halfway. To get it all the way out, instead of hammering it, you put the wrench on the other side and just pull it. There you go, and it's out. So you kind of use it with like a puller, and you pull it out and it's spinning, so it'll come out. Okay, so got that out like this. All right, so okay, so I kind of had to hammer it more. The bottom ball joint wasn't really fully out, so take the tire rod out. As you see here, the tire rod. You take the castle nut from the top ball joint. Okay. Don't ever hit the castle nut because then you'll never get it back on. Separate the ball joint. There you go, drops off. So then we push up the axle. Get off the axle nut. Alright, this is a rubber mallet. It's easier, softer. Alright, push out the axle. And the axle comes out from the other side. Get out of my way. axle, and you see it's separated. All right, so we're gonna remove the castle nut. All right, and then we just pull out the arm. Oh, and I forgot to mention that this ABS sensor, you have to just press the pin and it'll pull out. That way you still have an ABS sensor you can use. All right, so the whole steering knuckle is out. All right, the wheel bearing, it's a little hard to turn. So the wheel bearing's bad. There's the axle, of course, and we work on the rest, okay? So I'm gonna show you guys how to put it back all together. I have the knuckle over there. So let me just take off the ABS sensor. You're gonna lube it. Show you up close. The ABS sensor is right here. You're gonna lube it with PV Blaster or any lube. All right. Sometimes it does create corrosion as well as rust, so it's hard to come out, and it may break. If it breaks, Dorman sells a part which is roughly what, 20 bucks. You guys can get it at a parts store and replace it. But if you want to use the same one, try to be careful, lube it, and take it off with ease. You're gonna remove the 10mm here and the 10mm back here, and then that comes off, and you can put it on the next steering knuckle. As you can tell also, the ball joint on this one ripped. So that's a good thing that we're gonna replace it. So let me go ahead and go do that, and then I'll be back. Okay guys, so this is the steering knuckle that I got off that junk car. It shows a little bit of rust, but still works. Put the new ABS sensor on. All right. Ball joint's not ripped like the other one, which is a good thing. So all we have to do is put everything back together. All right. We're gonna remove the castle nut. All right. And this one spins freely, which is a good thing. All right, so we're gonna put the bottom one first. Pick it up, move the axle a little bit. Same time you can try to put the axle in, but it's a little difficult. There you go, we went in. All right, so to hold it in place, we're gonna put the tire rod on. All right, the axle's in. Well, it's going in. There you go. Push it in. All right, grab the axle nut, hold it in place. Twist a little bit with your hand. Always hand tight all these bolts. You don't want to strip any of them. All right, move this caliper out of the way. Bring the upper ball joint close. All right, so it's not gonna lock in place right now because the bottom has to lift up. So what we need to do is grab a jack. We're gonna jack this up a little bit so it goes in. So put the castle nut at the bottom ball joint, hand tight. All right. Because now what we're gonna do is install the fork, the suspension fork, back onto the lower control arm so it brings the weight up, and that way we can get this ball joint in. All right, let me go get a jack. All right, so jack it up to the control arm, the knuckle, or the control arm actually, and then grab that bolt, the long one that was in the back of the fork, and push it in. All right, went in. Okay, so that's a good sign. All right, take this bolt. Okay, so now we can bring the knuckle. See how the knuckle came in? It's really hard to tell in the video, but the knuckle came in right in after I pushed it up. So we're gonna grab the castle nut for the control arm, top control arm, top bolt joint, hand tight again. Okay, of course, move the ABS sensor. I'm gonna start putting it back together. So, 10mm nuts, bolts, nuts, whatever you want to call them. We have a term for it, but right now I'm just trying to get it in. All right. Top one in. So, and then connect the ABS sensor. And you're done for that part. Okay. So then we're gonna put the caliper back on the rotor, tighten everything, torque wrench, grab a torque wrench, torque them to specifics. The tie rod is 22 pounds. The upper ball joint is 23 pounds, but I'm actually gonna research that again. I totally forgot that one. And the bottom one goes up to like 30. And then you're gonna put everything back, and once you have a chance, you're gonna grab the torque wrench to torque down the axle nut. On this car, they had it at 192 foot-pounds torque. On the old models, the first gen TSX, they had it at 175. Some say 115, but the book says 175. So we're gonna get this done, and then we're gonna put something on the brake so we can torque it. Okay, so I'll be back. Okay, so I went and ahead and torqued down the tie rod as well as the lower ball joint and the upper ball joint. And what I was reading, I'll tell you guys, that way you guys know for your own. The lower ball joint castle nut, it's between 58 and 65 foot-pounds of torque. The tie rod is 22 foot-pounds. Okay. The fork is 47 foot-pounds of torque. The upper ball joint castle nut is 32 foot-pounds of torque. And the axle nut, it was saying 175, which, like I said, I read somewhere else it said 191. I did that one before, so that was on the Honda Accord 2008 to 2012. So I'm gonna put down the rotor right now in this video so you guys can see. And just put the rotor back on. You guys have the screws, you can put the screws back on, but this rotor does not. All right, you're gonna lower down the brake caliper. Put the two 17mm bolts back in the back. Now you can use a torque wrench for foot-pounds, but I just use my weight. There you go. Okay, so we got the brake caliper back on, and all we need to do is remove the bungee cord. Okay. So tighten all the bolts with the ABS sensor. Tighten the 12mm brake line back onto the steering knuckle. There you go. Brake lines are back on. Make sure this shield is not touching the rotor. Okay. So now we're gonna put something on the brake and tighten the axle nut. All right. So we got something holding the brake. We're gonna torque this nut down. Okay. Come on. Stop turning. Oh, there we go. As you guys heard it, torqued out. All right. So then, grab a chisel. I'm gonna do real quick. Grab a chisel. All right. And where you're supposed to pin the nut, you're gonna pin it down. Now it's all set. Axle nut, everything's back together. All you have to do is put the wheel back on and put the nuts and take it on a test drive. All right, there you guys go. Same concept of replacing your axle, replacing your upper ball joint. There are 2 nuts up top above, as well as removing the suspension. You just got to take off all the wheels. Replacing your tie rod, remove the 19 millimeter bolt. This is the same concept of that. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I hope this video helps out. I know it's a little bit long, but let's see if it helps out, all right?